In this video, I want to talk about why you should not be pursuing velocity at a young age. So let's just kind of take a step back and talk about like why it happened and why it's now backfiring for people. So the reason why it happened is because there was all these different training facilities that specialized in velocity, and some of their philosophies was that young guys shouldn't even worry about learning how to pitch at a young age. They should just worry about learning how to throw hard. And believe me, I know, because I've taken training from these facilities. I get where they're coming from, in that there are ways to teach velocity, but now that we've seen that generation come up, we know how much harm that it has done. So basically what happened, and I'm not trying to throw stones too much at these facilities, but what's happened, and Dr. Andrews talks about this, is when you're pushing velo at 8, 9, 10, through, even 14, 15, basically you're accumulating so much damage in the elbow, the UCL, the shoulder, everything like that, that when you're getting injuries in high school, college, or pro ball, a lot of that can be traced back to when you were younger. And so you can look at Dr. Andrews' quotes on this. I have a lot of them on my Instagram page you can check out. But that's why at a young age, it's actually not good to be chasing it. And so I'll give you another example. Justin Verlander, who's had an incredible career pitching, I think he's still pitching at 40 years old. He says that he's thankful that he wasn't a super hard thrower when he was younger, and that his velo was more of a slow burn. And the reason he says that is because it allowed him to be healthier, because the UCL ligament, according to Dr. Andrews and others, isn't even fully mature until you're 26 years old. So if you're throwing 90 miles an hour as a freshman in high school, you're gonna have so much strain that it's almost a guarantee at that point that you're gonna have tremendous injuries. You're gonna have Tommy John injuries. And so at a young age, you should be focusing on good mechanics, learning how to pitch, learning how to change speeds, having a changeup, hitting your spots. That's why I teach the knuckleball, because it's a super fun pitch for kids. It's the easiest on the arm. It could be useful later in life, their entire career, even if they start throwing harder. But it's a fun way for kids to compete at a high level, so that when they're younger, they're not just maxing velo. So if you're a young guy, don't worry about your velocity. Plenty of guys didn't throw hard when they were younger that ended up big leaguers, like Ben Joyce. He said he was only throwing 65 his freshman year of high school. Then he got bigger and stronger, and obviously now he's throwing 105. So velocity at a young age, if anything, if you happen to be big and strong when you're younger, you should be trying not to throw max effort. If you're, I see these guys with these PGs, they're 10, 11, 12, and they're 10 years old throwing 65, 70, they're 12, and guys are 12 throwing 80s. It's crazy. If you're, maybe you have a strong arm and you're a talent, relax, take it slow, allow your body to develop, spend those years learning good mechanics, spend those years nice and relaxed, pitching at 80%, hitting your corners, make challenges for yourself. How many times in a game did I hit my spot? How many games in a row, maybe I'm trying to eliminate walks almost altogether because I can pitch at 80%, not walk guys. And yeah, you might not lead, PG for top velocity, but believe me, that's going to help you in the long run, because then you're going to be junior, senior when it really counts, and you're not going to have your Tommy Johns. Some guys have 2 Tommy Johns even by that point. So it's going to help you in the long run. You'll throw harder in the long run. So there's no drawback to it. You're going to learn how to pitch. You're going to learn how to change speeds. You're going to learn safer pitches. And our safer pitches for when we're young are, we want to throw a fastball nice and easy, learn the 2-seam so we can make that sink and same delivery, learn a changeup, not one where we're pronating like crazy, just nice and easy. Knuckleball's absolutely the safest. Stay away from curveball, slider, stuff like that. Dr. Andrews advises not to throw a curveball until you can shave. And so for most guys, 14, 15 years old, something like that, believe me, you're not going to fall behind Kershaw, for example, learned his slider in a day. I've seen guys, you teach them a curveball grip, they can throw it pretty well. By next week, it's really good. You don't have to start throwing a curve at 8 years old. It's not going to help, because when you're younger, you're going to be throwing it. It's not going to be good form. You're going to be hurting yourself. So when you're younger and you're not throwing hard, that actually can be a positive. So do not chase velocity at a young age. It's going to count, when you're a junior, senior in high school, and maybe you need to. That's something where you can assess the risks at that point. But for me, and having seen, guys go up and seeing my career, I would have been better off, everyone I know would have been better off not even chasing velocity at that point, because let's say you're a guy that, just for example, you're throwing 86, 87 as a junior, and you think, okay, I'm going to go do some crazy routine that's going to get me to 90, but that's putting your arm at risk. You would be better off just getting bigger and stronger in the gym. Might take you longer to increase your velo. Maybe you never get all the way up there, but it's not about what your max effort velo is. How can you throw controlled? If you can throw 88, hit your spots, you can still play Division I. I was at the Angel game yesterday watching Tyler Anderson throwing 86, 88 in the big leagues, and he's doing really good right now with the Angels. And so even at that age, I wouldn't recommend it, but I get that some guys are going to do it, and you have to weigh the risks. And believe me, there's always risks, but at a young age, it is crazy to be chasing velo. It's crazy to be paying attention to all the different leaderboards for 10, 11, 12-year-olds. Don't worry about it. Work on strikes, work on having fun, good mechanics, limit the innings, and that's why we teach the knuckleball, because that way kids are able to throw more, which they love, with a safer pitch that'll be with them the rest of their life, prolong their career. It's going to be way more fun. And so on this channel, you guys know we're trying to teach the right way to pitch. We're trying to bring back old school pitching, changing speeds, hitting spots, longevity, steering away from the arm injury epidemic where everything's about velo, and just making the game safer and more fun for younger players. And even in the big leagues, they're trying to figure this out. So I'm trying to do my part. So if you're interested in learning to play baseball, learning to be a pitcher in a safer way, and still able to have a good chance, even actually a better chance of making it the whole way, please subscribe to the channel. Tons of content coming out all the time. And let me know if you have any questions down in the comments.